Well, it's a busy weekend of racing action ahead of this Punters guide, and Jason Weaver alongside it as always. But we're north and south, right up on the west coast of Scotland at Ayr, down at Newbury as well. We've got something for everyone. Group races, big field sprint handicaps. Everyone's catered for this weekend, Jace.
Yeah, and the Ayr up at Ayr, that particular meeting, years gone by, things have changed. As we often say about the professionalism of the game or whatever, that used to be one mammoth party up at Ayr for the week. Trust me, that was a brilliant time to be a rider, a jockey, an owner. It was a wonderful time. Things a little bit tamer nowadays. Dare say they give it a little bit of a rip, but not quite what it used to be.
Yeah, it's very often used to frequent this meeting. It was a right old party. It still is in places as well. Certainly, there could be a few hangovers, that is for sure. Right, let's look at the action then. 5 races from Ayr, 4 from Newbury. We start at 1:15, up at Ayr, over a mile. I think 14 set to go to post. Could the draw have an effect here?
Possibly. Look, I think that, if you can get a decent position over the mile, you're absolutely fine. One thing that they will do, or they have tended to do, is swing off coming into the straight. I find that fascinating rather than sticking towards that far rail, making it difficult for everybody, if you like. Look, Revic managed to win this race last year off 95. He looks thrown in, doesn't he, off 88, 86 even. Is he some? Yeah, 88. Sorry, I was right first time. I thought he'd win at Chester last time, but he was posted a bit wide on the track. And when the jockey sort of accepts the situation, it's not going to happen. Okay, it was a big pot on offer, so I thought that he'd have been a goer, if you like. However, he turns up here very, very well weighted. I quite like the fact that George Wood, who's a real decent jockey in Newmarket, doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He can do the job. Revic could be a welcome winner for George.
There we are then. Yeah, Revic, he was a little bit disappointed, Chester, but maybe just didn't get the breaks there at his happy hunting ground. Then we go to Newbury, where we've got this 5-furlong sprint. I'll tell you what, we'll stay at Ayr, shall we? Let's do Ayr. Let's do Ayr. Let's get all the 5 at Ayr out of the way, then we'll do Newbury, save Vixen and matching. Right, let's look at the Doonside Cup then, shall we? This is the listed contest over 10 furlongs. Some old favourites lining up here.
Yeah, I mean, horses that are on the recovery, if you like. A High Royal, one time really good. Aidan, fascinating runner, was with Roger Varian, just the one run so far for the Balding team, ran appallingly badly at Southall. You got Phantom Flight and Enfajar. They ran really well together last time. What I will say, Enfajar has a £3 turnaround for just over a couple of lengths. And I feel that he's got a bit of unfinished business, hasn't he? I mean, he won the John Smiths in great fashion. He was unlucky at the Glorious Goodwood meeting. He probably should have won on that occasion. And I think that Phantom Flight, the time to catch him was fresh, if you like, when he returned for the new team. So, I think that Shadwell stable, Shaker Hisser, could come away with a tidy winner here. Enfajar, he's been going through the grades. Group 3 last time, sights lowered a little bit into listed company.
Yeah, I'll be getting back to winning ways then. Right, one of 2 big field handicaps to decipher here. The Ayr Silver Cup. Plenty of these got penalties for recent winning form as well, which kind of muddies the waters somewhat. And obviously the draw will be key, could be significant. We'll get a sighter, of course, to what may play out in the Gold Cup, but I'll give you a couple of darts if you like.
I think that this has probably got to be one of the strongest on the card, hasn't it? I don't need 2 in this. I'll have 2 in the big one itself. Summergand, did you see him finish in Ireland last time? What on earth happened early on? He literally rattled through the field up the stands rail. Look, Danny Tudhope gets back on board. He's dangerously well weighted. Look, he should have been in the big one, really, shouldn't he? But he's come all the way down the handicap. He is a 10-year-old, and that will put so many people off. But he's miles the best in here. He's going up against like real low 80 rated runners. He's much, much better than where he sits at the moment. In Ireland the other day, it didn't happen for the old boy. It'll win the Ayr Silver Cup, I think.
Yeah, it's a long time since he was down in the second tier in the Ayr Silver Cup Summergand. A big player. Then we'll talk about the gold shortly, but we've got the Firth Of Clyde stakes to come at 6 furlongs for the juvenile fillies. And again, a nice field and a tricky one. It's about 5 to 1 the field, this.
think we've always got to respect when the Irish Raiders come across. Henry de Bromhead, Town and Country could be interesting down the bottom. You've got the Richard Fahey team will be represented strongly up at Ayr, but also down at Newbury as well. And Moorlam has probably had little luck, I think, on a recent couple of runs. Is arguably a little bit better than where she sits at the moment. But if you looked at the results, you'd see that Sky Majesty won by a short head last time. Watch it back, see how confident Tom Marquand was. He went to go and pick the Pro Cush up, hands and heels, just came through. It was a comfy success. Look, she needs to improve, got to run a mid to high 90s, possibly triple digits. Fascinating and a big ride for Callum Rodriguez to come in for as well. He's a really good pilot. He won't be messing around. I think that Sky Majesty could be the answer.
Yeah, for the Tony Bloom, Brighton owner, of course, of Sky Majesty in the Firth of Clyde. And then we get to the big one. It is the Ayr Gold Cup. I mean, normally it should be around double digits, the field. And, you know, it's not far off, but the only one that's currently at single figures, Jim Gold, is absolutely flying. It's the Betfred Portland winner, American Affair. Got there in the nick of time 7 days ago at Doncaster. And I suppose in the context of a big handicap, he's quite a warm order for this.
Yeah, look, Paul Mulrennan said afterwards in the Portland that he always thought he was going to get there. I mean, he would have been such an unlucky loser, wouldn't he? He was down to his minimum to ride in there, a couple of pounds above that today, so he's an obvious place to start. Now, I've been on board on Aramis Gray when she has been so unlucky on numerous occasions. You remember when she bumped into Elmonjed at Windsor, she got knocked over at the gate. She had no luck all the way through the run. Tom Marquand rode that one again to win a big handicap at York because he only got a little pinch of a penalty. He's now rated just below triple digits. I think that form is rock solid. She is a massive price. Sometimes you don't get the rub of the green, do you? That was the big finale at Windsor. She now comes into this contest possibly looking well handicapped. She loved the track. 6 furlongs is absolutely ideal, just slightly on the collar. She is a massive each-way player for me. And the other one, at a huge price, comes out of the Portland as well, and that's Silky Wilkie. He goes really well. I think the fact that Carl Burke decides to put the visor on is a big, big positive. He was drawn on the wrong side at York, stayed on in behind runners last time, but he was flat out early on. So the visor goes on, and up to 6 furlongs will help him travel. Could be well handicapped. Two big prices, but I think that's the sort of race it is.
There we are then. Yeah, drawn 13 and 90, Summergan in 12. So maybe the action to develop up the centre, which has been known at Ayr.
Yeah, look, the only time when you look through this, you've got to go back a long time since we had an absolute superstar win the contest and then go on through the grades. They all look as if they're just on, Comanche Falls, obviously the class act at the top, but he's not getting any better, is he? You know exactly where his level is.
There we are then. So yeah, looking forward to always a great. I think it's still Europe's richest sprint handicap as well, isn't it? So right, as I mentioned earlier, but we will now get to Newbury. We're sprinting there for the opener as well. It's the Dubai International Airport World Trophy. It's a Group 3 over the Flying 5. This one to open the card in Berkshire.
Spoke to Ross O'Ryan. He won't be riding Anaf this weekend because he's likely to clash in the Champions Sprint with Kinross. So Jason Watson gets the leg up on him. He's quite clear on official ratings. Rosser also said he thought he ran well, considering that he was beaten 10 lengths behind Montasib up at Haydock. So he's a fascinating little contender, and he's likely to be towards the top of the market. I think there's a possibility that a young little 3-year-old in here is on the proof, and it could be improved. Could be a good day for Richard Hughes and Ryan Moore. No Half Measures has taken significant strides this year. I know that the weight for age allowance is not as big in the sprint division, but she's improving. And a whole host of these, when you look away from Anaf, who's rated 114, she possibly is the one who's a bit of an each-way play in this particular lineup, just in the off chance that Anaf doesn't turn up.
Okay, then, yeah, no Half Measures. We've got to run at the weekend at the Cora. Right, so we've got a staying handicap. It's the Autumn Cup due off at 2:05. A decent field here. Waxing Gibbous, who was runner-up last time we saw him at Haydock, wasn't he, a fortnight ago?
Massive performance that behind Epic Poet, and the pair latched up together and they both went away. I think they were about four and a bit lengths clear of the eventual third. They were the real finishers, so likely to be towards the top of the market. I found it interesting that Harry Davis had got back on Waxing Gibbous, and Holly Doyle rides for Tom Ward on Ayr Gold Cup. Now, she rode both last time. I would like to think that she had the pick between those. And again, we come back into the weight for age allowance where it counts for a lot. £7 Ayr Gold Cup gets. And if you were to look at that particular runner at Goodwood, great, big, massive filly, can only be just starting to fill into her frame. There's every reason that the extra yardage and the hope that it was Holly Doyle or her agent's pick could be the angle in. So Ayr Gold Cup is a fascinating contender. I was with Lieber Power last time, came from miles back at York, really unlucky to get beaten on that occasion, but has had a £4 rap over the knuckles for finishing second. That might just slow him down a bit.
Okay, so our Golden One then in the Autumn Cup. And then we've got the Dubai Duty Free Handicap, this one over 10 furlongs. Having a look at this, I thought this was a real tricky one to try and solve.
A good race. Quietness has been a massive improver for Marcus Tregoning. I can't go with her now because she's gone from 68 to 95 without me latching onto her tail. And whether she's going to keep on going, I don't know. I mentioned a really good combination of Richard Hughes and Ryan Moore. Well, they team up with Whipcracker. He's not short of pace. He managed to win over 7 furlongs. And if you look back at his Britannia run, it was a complete throw out. Dropped in, held up at the back of the pack, never got into it. 2 things. Steps up to the 1.25 miles, Ryan Moore on board, and he's had the cruelest cut of all. He's been gelded since we last saw him, so he could be an obvious improver. I'm fascinated to see how he goes. And one who's well handicapped, little bit of a nightmare to predict, is Mustazid, who goes for Harry Eustace and David Probert. If he's lurking around there at a huge double-digit price, I'd be tempted to have £1 each way on him. But Whipcracker's the improver, provided he settles.
Okay, Whipcracker then in the 240. And then we've got the Mill Reef Stakes, this Group 2, the big race for the juveniles at 3:15. And you've got the proven form of Shadow of Light, who was second in a Jim Crack after 2 wins. And then you've got the potential of Powerful Glory. All the dogs are barking this one's name before he came and won out at Pontefract on debut. So 2 ends of the spectrum here, or we're going for something else at a price.
Yeah, I mean, there are 5 that are rated within about £5 of each other at the moment. I'd love for Sylvester Kirk to have a good horse. I think that Brian ran really, really well and has been a massive improver for the yard. You're right, Symbol of Strength and Shadow of Light, they latched up together, didn't they? Behind Cool Hoof Luke at York. That form is going to be particularly strong. I was at Yarmouth when Shadow of Light won, and I gave him a 6.5 out of 10, and William Buick knocked me back and said, no, that was an 8 out of 10 on his racecourse debut for a hot review. So he likes him a lot. I'm always sucked in by the potential, if you like, and Powerful Glory. He clocked 24 seconds up the hill for the final 1/4 mile at Pontefract on the collar, not really knowing what he was doing. Richard Fahey has won this on a couple of occasions with some superstars as well. And the fact he's kept him back, he wanted, or the owner wanted him to run at the Royal Meeting. And he just did a couple of fast bits of work. And he said, he's grown on us. We can go there if you want, but I would prefer to have a bit more time. They took the patient approach, and hopefully that can be rewarded.
It's also this weekend the end of an era, Jason. Obviously, a guy that you would have ridden against years and years ago, the Chester King, the King of Chester, the Rudy specialist, Franny Norton brings the curtain down on a great career.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to catch up with him, and he said, did we really reach the absolute tip-top pinnacle of our sport? Maybe not, but he did incredibly well, closing in on 2,000 winners. I certainly didn't mind riding against him. I wouldn't even allow him for my huge weight advantage. Got in the boxing ring with him. He's an absolute machine. The Mighty Atom, as he's down on my phone. A brilliant, brilliant little rider. And the end of an era. I think he's he's sort of the bygone era as well, isn't he? Because a real lightweight jockey, the weights are so much bigger now, or heavier. The jockeys are so much bigger, but an absolute superstar in the weighing room. Lots of things I think of when I see Franny. You know, determination, wonderful commitment to the sport. He was so competitive and a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, there we go. The curtain coming down, and the brilliant career of Franny Norton. Great to have Jason Weaver rode against him years ago. Of course, brings that curtain down at his favourite Chester on Saturday afternoon. Right, 9 races looked at. What's your best bet of the weekend?
I think that Summergand is going to take a world of beating in the Silver Cup, but you can't not have a little swipe, can you, at the Ayr Gold Cup itself? At what price, Matt? You tell me. For Aramis Gray, I was looking dotted around. She was big.
Yeah, 33.40.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'll have a little bit of 50s if you like. No, 40s at a pound each way. That'll do me to go along with my goals.
Yeah, goals galore as well with the Football League action. I'm sure you'll be playing that as well. Right, brilliant stuff. Action at Ayr, action Newbury. Catch Jason in front of the ITV cameras. Join us in your Betfred shops and join another fantastic weekend of racing action.